Welcome to the Alternative Dog Moms podcast. I'm Kimberly Gauthier, creator of Keep the Tail Wagging. I've been blogging about raw feeding, pet wellness, and life as a crazy dog mom for more than 10 years. I've seen massive improvements in my dog's health since I began raising my dogs naturally, and I'm passionate about sharing my experience to help other pet parents.
I'm Erin Scott from the Believe in Dog podcast. For more than 10 years, I've been researching and learning everything I can about healing cancer, allergies, autoimmune, and mystery illnesses in both my dogs and myself. And I can't wait to share with you everything I've learned in case it could help you too. As the Alternative Dog Moms, Kimberly and I are bringing you all the latest dog health news that we're following and the brilliant people we're meeting along the way. Now let's get started. Hello, Kimberly.
Hello, Erin.
So cheers to the end of 2024.
Absolutely.
Got my homemade mudslide here.
I have spiked green tea. It's funny because when I don't know what I'm doing when I'm making drinks. I just know what I like and I just throw a bunch of stuff into it. So this is green tea plus a citrus tea, which is basically citrus peels and stuff, along with honey and rum, and it is delicious. So I'm very happy. So yay.
Well, you know, with everything going on, I felt like we might need the reinforcement.
This is going to be an extensive episode because we have so many things to cover. You said you couldn't come up with 5 things. So I counted yours. You came up with 9. So I came up with 11. And I didn't mean to. I meant to come up with 9 too, but there were 2 more. And so these are like just the great moments of this past year. And then there's a lot going on. So where do you want to start?
Well, I thought I could just give a funny little update about why we had our little break earlier this month.
Yes. How was your trip?
It was a shit show. So my husband turned 50 a couple weeks ago. He's a December birthday baby. And all he's ever wanted to do, like I had planned a big thing when he turned 30. I had planned a big thing when he turned 40. And all he wanted to do when he turned 50 was go to our favorite spot on the beach. Like we've been talking about this probably for like 2 years. And so we made the arrangements and like literally nothing cooperated. The weather didn't cooperate. The traffic didn't cooperate. The dogs definitely did not cooperate. We were supposed to leave on the day of his birthday, completely poured down rain, like horrific storm, like record-setting rainfall. And so we're like, there's no way we're going to make this drive. We still had to like load the car up. All our stuff we're like, no way. We're just going to go down the following day. So the people who we were renting from, they were so lovely. They're like, well, why don't you stay an extra day? Since, you know, they're like, the storm is awful. It's awful down here. Like, just come a day later, stay a day later. It'll be fine. So we're like, oh, that's amazing, right? We're like thinking this is all going to go so well. We were so wrong. So the day we go to leave, my husband had this plan how we were going to leave like at like 9 o'clock in the morning. So you can imagine my surprise when it's like 9:15 and he's still in pajama pants playing video games. And I'm like, okay, I've already like packed all my stuff, packed all the bathroom stuff, passed all the dog stuff, packed all the dog food. So we didn't end up leaving our house until noon. Well, it just so happened like the big highway right near our house that we needed to get on, there was like a massive accident. And all of the like overflow ways were all backed up, which meant we couldn't even hardly get out of our neighborhood because of all of this traffic backup. So, and you know me, I need my Starbucks, right? And I hadn't had any coffee yet. So it took us an hour to get from our house to Starbucks and onto the highway. Luckily, once we got out of like our county, everything was fine the rest of the way. So we get to the house. It's like a bigger house than we usually stay at. So we're kind of like, oh, this is, a really nice place. But because we had just had this storm and we're like right on the ocean, it was like hurricane force winds every time you went outside. So we're trying to like unload the car. And it was like that the entire weekend with the wind. So we know that Nino does not do well on slippery floors. And, we have carpet at home, but beach houses, they have sand, they always have laminate floor because of all the sand. So we had brought a bunch of yoga mats, but we did not bring enough because this was a bigger house than we were used to. And so, of course, Nino has like a meltdown. He can't like walk. So I'm like, running, like picking up one yoga mat and putting it in front of the next to try to just get him to like a bedroom spot so we can put his crate up, And we're just like, oh boy, this is not gonna work for the whole time that we're here. So half of the reason we wanted this trip, right, is there's this amazing Cajun restaurant. Sounds strange for Delaware, but these people are from New Orleans. There's this amazing Cajun restaurant that we love to go to. It's like half the reason we even take this trip every year. And so it just so happens, kind of near the restaurant, we see a Dollar General store, and we're like, oh, maybe they'll have yoga mats or something. Well, they had runner rugs. So we bought like $100 worth of runner rugs because the ones they sell at Dollar General are much smaller.
Yes.
Yeah, they're like a little bit bigger than like a doormat, So we both come out. We have like our arms completely loaded up, both of us with all these runner rugs, so we can try to make Nino this like path through the house. And we're like, woohoo, successful. So one of the things that we like about where we stay is it's not like a public commercial beach. It's part of actually like this wildlife refuge. It like backs up to this marshy area. But the place we were at didn't have, like, it had a fence, and we were like, oh, that's great, it's fenced in, but it was kind of like a garden fence. And then right behind it is like marshland. And so again, with all of the evidence of rabbits having visited the yard, I'll say, that we found, we were like, oh, so Nessie, she cannot be trusted outside the house either. She has to be on leash at all times. And, we had to have like a very strict crate and rotate system in the house. So I felt bad for her because she likes having her Nessie time to get out and run around. It's good for her. So, I just felt bad. So we were trying to do more dog walks. Well, because of where this beach is, it's on a dune and there's a lot of vegetation and there's a lot of burrs. And so both dogs ended up with burrs in their paws.
Oh.
Luckily, I caught Nessie's, I saw immediately when it happened and was able to remove it. And as far as I know, we've been okay. But Nino's got really embedded in his paw, and we had to do surgery. We had to get tweezers out, and these things were really hooked into his paw. And so we just felt like we were all miserable. It was stressful being inside, but it was equally as stressful being outside. And then the house we stayed at, we've always done either Airbnb or Verbos. We've always stayed in great places. And the place we stayed in this time, I don't know if it was because it's the off season, but it was not the cleanest place. We found somebody's dirty dishes that had been stuck in the oven and not cleaned. And there was fingerprints all over the stainless steel appliances, but also on the door frames and the door, and it's we were both I don't want to shower here. So we ended up just leaving on the original day we were scheduled to leave. We were let's just pack up and get out of here. We all just wanted to go home. So we were there for less than 48 hours. So much for Tim's 50th birthday trip. And we were all just so freaking happy to be home. We're we're never leaving again. So that just set us up for, the great holiday. Because then it was come back and bam, it's Christmas time. And I feel like we've just been nonstop ever since.
Do you have a nice Christmas?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm grown.
I know. It's funny because I had a great Christmas. This is my Christmas, and it cracks me up because it's so different than how the person I was 30 years ago. But the excitement of my Christmas, I have a thing about flashlights because
you've talked about this.
Flashlights are very expensive. A really good flashlight is good they cost $20 to $40. And as I probably have complained to you, somebody in this house that's not Kimberly borrows flashlights and doesn't put them back. And so I have lost so many flashlights over the years, and it makes me angry. So last year, I bought myself a flashlight and I bought Johann a flashlight, and I put a sticker on mine. So it's like, this is my flashlight. And the flashlights came in a pack with big ones and small ones. So now I have all these flashlights like within hand's reach. So I could always find a flashlight. But for Christmas, and it's not really for Christmas because I got it before Christmas, but since it's the season, it counts. Johann got me the best flashlight I have ever had in my entire life. It is super bright. When it gets dark here, it's black outside. You don't see anything except for what's around the house and the road. But behind the house, everything is pitch black. I can take this flashlight and light up the property. It's so powerful. And it goes so far. It goes from our house all the way to the Centennial Trail. It is amazing. And Johann says he will not borrow it. He will not use it. It is my flashlight. And I am so happy about this flashlight. It is just like, it is so amazing. So that was one present. Another present, I went and got myself a mattress a couple days ago. I've slept on
I
it
saw that
twice.
online.
Yes, I've slept on it twice. Now I understand why I was having such bad back pain.
It's
Because
a thing.
the first morning after I slept in that mattress, I leaped out of bed. And I haven't done that in like over a year. So I was just like, whoa. So yes, this mattress is amazing.
Definitely prioritize mattresses and sleeping as you get older, man.
Yeah.
Like, we spend a third of our life in bed. If you have any kind of back pain, get a good mattress.
And I was surprised. It was on sale at Costco. And I had to pay someone to come and remove the old mattress because I was like, oh, I'll just take it to the dump. And you can't take mattresses to the dump here anymore. They have to be recycled in a certain way, which is fine. So I could either try and load it up and then drive a city south to take it to, or pay them and they'll come and pick it up. And so they came and picked it up, and a really nice man came and picked it up this morning. And I forgot what the third thing it was that I got for myself. There was something else. I know I got a bunch of painting stuff. There's something else I got for myself, but for the life of me, I can't remember. And then just lots of booze. That's basically what people get me is, I don't know. It's funny because it's like, do I drink a lot? Because I rarely drink. But when I do drink, there are certain things I really like. And my friends and family understand that. My sister-in-law made the best blackberry wine. And I almost finished the first bottle the first night after I got it. I finished half of the bottle. Now I have I'm probably knock out the other half of the bottle tomorrow because it's delicious. And it's respectful. It was a gift and it's respectful to drink it.
Well, I'll tell you the best gift we got. Gotta love my mom, but she did it to be funny, but honestly, it's like the best presents. It was like this big box. And we're like, what is that? And so in the county where we are, a lot of the stores, especially the grocery store we go to, they don't do plastic bags anymore. They'll only do, either bring your own bag or paper bags. And at Target, a lot of the times, I think they will do plastic bags, but I hate going in there because it's such a miserable experience because they only ever have self-checkout. And so I just do it all online and go and pick it up. And they tie the bags in such a knot that you have to like cut the bag to get it open, and then you can't reuse the bag.
Yeah.
And we need bags. Like, we had to pick up dog poop in the yard, going on a trip, right? Like, I put all like the lotion and the shampoo. I like to put in bags so it doesn't leak all over things if, something happens in traveling. And so my mom got us this big bag, a big box of all these bags that she's been like hoarding from the grocery store for years.
That is so great.
And we were like, oh my God, this is amazing. But the funny thing is she had put some books in the bottom to like make it feel like really heavy. So we're like, what is this?
Oh, speaking of books, I also got a graphic novel Bible.
Oh, okay.
I'm so excited about it because I was sitting here, I was shopping with a girlfriend of mine. We met for lunch and then we went and wandered around. And as we were standing in line, I turned and was just like, no, and opened it up. And I was just like, oh, this is coming home with me. And it was on sale. And so that was like my gift to myself, was my graphic novel Bible. And so it counts. It counts. So yeah, it's funny because it's like, yeah, Christmas becomes a holiday of the things that I need. I'm more focused on what I need
Right.
than what I want. I
Right.
mean, or what I want is usually what I need. So it's like getting that mattress was super exciting. And the best part was that, first of all, it was a huge box. And you know how they fold up the mattresses now? A huge box. Someone helped me get it into the cart. I went and checked out. Two people helped me get it out of the cart and into my car. And I thank them like so many times because I'm just like, oh my God, thank you so much for doing this. And we're all like arranging it. And they're like, okay, let's do it this way, and getting it out to the car. And Johan drug it into the house, and I broke it down. And it was so, the second it was situated on the sofa, on the box spring, the dogs came in and they were like, and we shall take a nap now.
Well, Nino got two of his favorite West Paw balls because he really needed some new toys that he hadn't eaten all the chunks out of. And then Nessie got a big new elk antler. And so she's been very funny. She gets kind of like, this is for me? And she just kind of like lays with it. And it's very cute. It's been very cute. So everybody got a little something something around here.
Yeah, my dogs just got new dinosaur toys, and all
Of
the toys
course.
were themed, and they were themed for the last quarter. So they got a couple of Halloween dinosaurs. There was a Dracula dinosaur, and I forgot what the other Halloween dinosaur was. And then they got two like a winter dinosaur, a skiing dinosaur, and a Christmas dinosaur. Oh, and they got an old Valentine's Day dinosaur that I forgot to give them earlier this year. So they got quite a few dinosaurs, and those were exciting for about 5 minutes. I mean, they're being played with, but it was just sort of like my dogs, when I gave them the toys, because I was giving them toys and then I was going to leave. Apollo was looking out the window. He was just like, okay, yeah. Apollo was looking out the window. Zoe was laying down, but just watching me casually. And Bella was just sitting there like, what's next? I will take them all. And so, and then I got some Jolly Balls too, because I'm convinced that someone's stealing our Jolly Balls. And I feel horrible for saying that, because I decided one day to just start looking in what's it called? The brush of our property. And I started seeing these bright colors. And so either our dogs are taking the Jolly Balls out to the edge of the property and into the brush, or coyotes are taking them. I don't know why the coyotes, but I've seen coyotes play with dog toys before. Not at my house, but I've seen it online. So maybe that's what's happening. I have no idea. Okay, so what's next?
So,
Oh, shall we talk about the things we're not going to take into 2024?
you know, my brain just doesn't work like that, I guess.
I love it. To be perfectly honest, BK Pets, good on them for putting it out there. I mean, it's their thoughts, it's their opinion, but this is a post that I first saw it on Instagram that says things we're leaving in 2024. The idea that raw is better than any other form of pet food. Okay, I'm down with that. The idea that grain-free food is automatically better than grain-inclusive food, or the idea that grains are bad even in small quantities. Okay, I can get behind that. What what got people real riled up, and I won't even say it's not so much riled up, because I only see a hand, unless I mean, I'm not obsessively stalking them, but I've only seen a handful of like, what the hell are you talking about?
Well, I do think some things are getting deleted. So,
And some stronger statements as well. But raw milk, too many experts recommend against it. And that's all. That's the only explanation. And in a world of first Answers pet food, then Cure, and now Green Juju, and
Solution.
Pet products, and, Jacqueline and Roxanne, and Billy, and just like in a world where I I will say that raw goat's milk has been such a huge part of the conversation for so long.
I mean, Billy did an entire presentation on the benefits of raw milk this summer
Yep.
at one of the events where I was sitting next to the BK Pet people.
Yeah, and I pulled a snippet of that out that I'm going to be sharing later this week because I remembered that. It's sort of like a raw milk diet. And when he talked about, what is it, lactoferrin?
Lactoferrin, yeah.
Yeah, and the benefits and stuff. And I went through the comments to try and get an idea, because I mean, on Instagram you can't share links. So I was trying to figure out, well, why? What did they hear? What did they learn? What did they see? And for me, to be frank, and this is in no way meant to be rude to anyone, I don't give a damn what people do. I honestly have zero time to worry about what someone else is feeding their dogs or not feeding their dogs. I don't get offended or upset or ticked off, nor do I feel like, oh no, I have to stop feeding raw milk too. I'm just curious as to why. I went through the comments, and the only thing I saw was just the message of too many doctors and scientists or PhDs have said that raw milk is dangerous, and so we're just not going to do this anymore. So it's just like, okay. My thought is, so many veterinarians say that raw feeding is bad, but I'm not going to stop raw feeding unless someone comes up with some compelling evidence to show me that it's bad. But after what it's been, gosh, almost 12 years of feeding raw, I just don't see how anyone can do that. And, and I would say I've been feeding raw goat's milk for over 10 years, and I've witnessed the benefits with my dogs. And while raw goat's milk may not be appropriate for all dogs, I can totally get behind that. I don't think it's bad or dangerous.
And in fact, I think we even touched on it with Billy, but one of the vets that I used to go to, she did dogs on all raw goat milk diets, dogs that have like inflammatory bowel conditions, for instance. Yeah. And the healing properties of raw goat's milk are fabulous and in a lot of medical journals. And, you know me, I don't have like a guru, right? Like I don't have somebody that I follow every single word that they say. I'm a tools in the toolbox kind of person. Like I feel like my brain is just like this encyclopedia Rolodex file system of wanting to know what are all the different like healing modalities that are out there. Yeah, raw might not be the best for some pets. I have Nino on gently cooked for the last year and a half, and he's done amazing. Nessie's doing a fabulous on raw. Like I think that I like knowing that there's all these different options out there, because you might get a new dog or develop a new condition where something that you've done before isn't working, and you need to know what else is out there to try, And so I guess I get upset if somebody's doing something for their dog that's good for them and is working, and now they're like, well, some dude on the internet said he saw somebody that had a PhD that said not to, so I'm not going to do that anymore,
Well, it reminds me that, one of I hate the word influencer. I do not like it when people refer to me as an influencer, because that's not what I consider myself a raw feeding enthusiast, a raw feeding advocate, and a blogger, a content creator. I don't consider myself an influencer, because the only thing I want to influence people to do is make better choices for their dogs. Now, what that looks like is going to be different for every person. I don't want to be the person that tells other people what to do and what not to do.
Right. And I feel the same way.
Yeah. And I think that there becomes a point where when someone has such a large audience and such impact, and so like, BK Pets, like Rodney and Karen at the highest level, like Dr. Judy Morgan, a lot of these people who have a huge platform, if they say something that's mostly like, this is what I'm doing for my dogs, it's not enough to just say, no, this is just what I feel like doing and leave it at that. I just see a lot of it reminded me of the Dogs Naturally magazine coconut oil situation where you're allowed to change your mind, but people are going to want to have a better understanding of as to why you changed your mind. And if you are, like, well, in the Dogs Naturally magazine case, if you're referencing studies that have already been addressed as inaccurate or not complete, or if you're referencing studies like new studies, but the study is about 5 or 6 years old, it's just going to raise more questions. And I think in this situation, I wish that, and maybe they plan to, I wish that conversation would have sparked, like, this is what we're reading, this is who we're talking to, this is why we're making this choice. Instead, what I see is just, we just, too many people don't like it, so we're not going to do it anymore. And like I saw in one case, it's funny because people tend to, it's like they excuse scientists and doctors when it supports what they believe, but then they condemn when it doesn't. So we'll laugh at veterinarians who have anything to say about raw feeding, and we're like, how much nutrition education did you have? Okay, shut up. I'm smarter than you. But then if it's something that we want, I saw one person say, oh, so basically what you're saying is someone who went to school for years and years doesn't, more than this person. And the person's response was, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that person was blocked. But it's just sort of like I feel like there is a really great opportunity to have a conversation, and it kind of spiraled out of control with people who don't agree being called snowflakes and comments being deleted, people being blocked. And this is not me judging anyone by all means, but it was a lot.
But at the end of the day, I mean, it's engagement, which, like, if you
Mm-hmm.
get really cynical about it, okay, say a bunch of crap that, people are going to disagree with because it'll fire up your engagement. Like,
Yep.
and
So
I'm
there's
just
that.
very cynical about that. I'm also very cynical that, like, you know, oh, what kind of income streams are you going to be having in 2025 that
Yeah.
match up with these new
Like
views?
something that goes against raw goat, or like maybe instead of it being raw goat's milk, they're going to start promoting a product that is pasteurized.
Right.
One of
Like,
the reasons why I don't like pasteurized products is because I worry about, the impact. I mean, even though it's not clear the impact on the nutrients in raw milk, a lot of places that I saw said that the impact is very minimal. But it's more than just, the vitamins in the milk. There's the fat. Like, how does it impact the fat? Does it oxidize the fat? And that was like my concern. And then there's that lactoferrin. What is the impact on the lactoferrin? And which is something that is in milk and has so many amazing benefits, for wellness. How is that going to be changed? And I found some sources that says that pasteurization very much.
destroys it.
Yeah. And there are other places that were like, well, it's about this much, but it was very hard to find specifically to raw goat's milk because a lot of it was like human breast milk or
Cow's milk.
cow's milk. But it's still one of those where for me, the benefits far, far, far outweigh the risk.
At least
Uh,
in what I've seen in my dogs, it's only
exactly.
been a positive. Perhaps there are some dogs who could be somehow immunocompromised, in which it's not a good fit, in which case,
Mhm.
okay, that would make total sense to
Yeah.
me, which is why I never ever want to give like a blanket
Yeah.
statement about something, right? But from what I've seen in my dogs, only ever been a positive and not something that I would stop doing because some dude heard somebody with a PhD say it.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see if this goes any further or if a new product, comes out in 2025 that's like, oh, I don't know. Another thing that they're leaving behind in 2024 was the idea that rotational feeding is enough to provide a balanced diet. studies show it's not. Yeah, I don't think rotational feeding, so basically feeding turkey one week, beef another week, blah, 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 is enough. I think that there are many ways to go about feeding our dogs the raw diet. I think there are many paths to balance. I prefer to just focus on what I'm doing than what other people are doing. But I'm also, I don't know, I'm in my little bubble. I'm fine. And finally, feeding raw meat from the grocery store. She's like, they say we cook it first nowadays. And so that's something they're leaving behind in 2024. And I can understand that to a point. I have one grocery store that I would never feed the raw meat from, not because it's bad, but because I had a really terrible experience 10 years ago where my puppies got explosive diarrhea, and Rodrigo did too. And I don't know, I think it was a combination of because I was feeding chicken, the meat, and too much hearts and liver in the diet because I didn't realize both of those were rich. I had no idea. I was brand new to raw feeding, or not to raw feeding, but to DIY. I had no idea what I was doing. And people got explosive diarrhea. But since then, I have purchased meat from the store. Usually, I know the stores where certain cuts of meat I know are going to be frozen, like Cornish game hens, chicken feet, duck. And so I will buy that. And anything that's thawed, I usually stock up when it goes on clearance and make dog treats. So it's cooked. I make dog treats out of it. So I think it's one of those where I saw a little pushback on this because I think it's not the case for everybody. I think that if you source some meat from the grocery store and it didn't work for your dog, then don't source meat from that grocery store anymore. But that doesn't mean across the board it's bad. And I remember feeling that way. I was just like, I'm never doing this. It's dangerous, it's bad. It was like in the middle of the night, I'm waking up, cleaning up. It was awful. It was awful. But I've learned.
Yeah, that's not something that I tend to do or really have any big opinion on other than, yeah, just do what works for your dog and don't stop because of the interwebs.
But yeah, I did dive deep into I think I posted something where I sprained my ankle, diving to the comments because I was like, oh, this is going to be good. It wasn't as satisfying as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be more of a like, oh my gosh, what is going on? And I didn't really understand about the raw goat's milk. Although a few people asked, like, which basically veterinarians or scientists or doctors are you following that are saying these things? But I didn't see any comments replying to those questions, and I haven't gone back. So maybe we'll see a follow-up. Maybe they'll do a video or a post or something like that that explains their position. Who knows? But it is a reminder that even though you may not feel like you're so much influencing what people are doing, when we put information out there, we probably should mesh it with studies. It's not enough always to just say, I'm just doing this because, like, sometimes I feed my dogs just the egg yolk. When people say, well, why are you doing that? And I will be honest to say, I have zero reason. Zero reason. I just felt like doing it. I like doing the shaking the egg back and forth. And then that's why. And now that I figured out how to pull the membrane off the shell, it's in all my dogs' meals. But I have no evidence that adding that membrane to their meals is helping them in any way. But, now that I know how to do it, I find it exciting and enjoyable. And so they get it.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes Tim asks me, like, oh, why are you adding that in? And I'm like, oh, I felt like it.
Mhm. It seemed like the right thing to do today.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think I'm actually kind of excited about 2025 because I want to know what's coming. Some people predicted that they were going to be coming out with a new product. I don't know. They came out with a book this year, so maybe they
Well,
are.
somebody said a lot of this information goes against what you say in your book.
Yeah, is your book out of date? And they honestly responded and said, yeah, some of it is. So I was like, well, there you go. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I know that my first book is definitely out of date. And I'm sure if I grabbed the update, that I did earlier this year, there are probably some things in there that I don't 100% agree with, or I could probably use a little clarification on. But we can't get perfect on all of these things. It's just every dog is different, every situation is different. And I think that ultimately we're all doing the best we can with this resources that we have. And as long as we're constantly educating ourselves, then, we can get to a place where we're addressing our dog's nutritional needs appropriately. But I can't get behind an argument of because so and so said so, or all these doctors are saying this. I mean, I think we've seen so much evidence just over the past 4 years of and even longer in some cases where doctors don't support natural remedies that are effective, and instead they go for harsher remedies. I mean, speaking
they
of
go
which,
by pharmaceutical industry thing.
yeah, what's that? What is that? What is that drug?
Librela.
So it's just sort of like I have been hearing about that for years, but my first introduction to it was a post by Dr. Josie Beug, where she was like, no, 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 no. And so it's not something that any of my dogs even needed. So it's just not something that I dove down into. But if something would have come up, if I would have gone to the vet and they recommended it, I would have been a bit more hesitant because of the information she had been putting out.
And now the FDA is issuing
Yes.
the exact warning on this drug that they just approved very recently, within the last year or two, basically warning of all these things that she's been warning everybody about. And it's like, yeah.
I mean, and it goes back to what's that flea collar?
Seresto.
The Seresto collar. I mean, there are so many things that the pharmaceutical and medical industries have told us are great, are safe, and only to turn out, not only is it not great, not safe, but it's deadly.
Dangerous. Yeah.
Yes, highly dangerous. And so for someone to tell me that, oh, well, lots of doctors don't like this, I'm sorry, but I can't get behind that. That's not good enough for me. And I'm not a person that needs to have studies. I saw someone say, finally, someone's posting scientific evidence. And it's like, but I haven't seen any science saying that a doctor doesn't like it isn't posting scientific
that
evidence.
Was my thing. Like, oh, so somebody with maybe their PhD was in Russian literature. Like, you don't know.
Yes, it's just like, that's not it. I mean, and it's not to say that I'm sure that the information is out there, just like I'm sure that the information, about against raw feeding is out there. Gosh, there's information against, electric cars. There's so many things that, depending upon what side of the argument you are, you can support what you believe. And I've had to learn to take many steps back and really look at something from all sides, and then take another look at my dogs. So I'm more than happy to agree that that raw feeding isn't perfect, but neither is kibble. But when I look at my dogs and then how can I make this perfect for my dogs, I think I pretty much nailed it. I can't tell other people what they should and shouldn't do. I don't plan on telling people what they should and shouldn't do, but I'm more than happy to share what I'm doing, which I guess is what they're doing here. But it does, when I saw so many comments of people who were like thanking them for sharing this, and and I didn't specifically see any comments of people saying, okay, well, I'm not going to.
Oh, I saw that.
Did you? Raw goat's milk. That kind of concerns me, because it's just sort of like, please do your homework first. There are so many amazing benefits. I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm sure that there are people out there that have had their dogs have had adverse reactions to raw goat's milk for whatever reason. Maybe, they're just super lactose intolerant. It just doesn't fit well
or
with
gut
them.
health already.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not going to be for every dog, but I have yet to see any dogs that have picked up bacteria or what's the other one?
Pathogens or
Pathogens. Thank you. From raw goat's milk. I have, especially from a reputable brand. I haven't seen any, knock on wood, recalls of raw goat's milks from reputable brands because dogs or cats or, pets are getting sick. They're even saying that just handling it. I mean, that's when I went into the risk of raw milk, they were saying even handling raw milk is dangerous. I mean, it's basically, they have it all along the line of raw meat. I mean, it's just bad all around. And once I get into the, that I just, for every person, I shouldn't say for every person who's against it. I can find so many places that support feeding raw milk, drinking raw milk, doing a milk diet. I mean, I dove deep into that years ago when I was interested in raw milk and kefir. So I think that we can argue it from both sides. It's just a matter of, again, do what works for your dog. So that rant's over.
And then there was the bird flu.
And then there was the bird flu.
Which, good God, I'm already sick of hearing about. Like, every time I see it on social media,
That
I'm
was
like, oh, make it stop.
crazy. I mean, it was like every company, every raw company was
I
putting
had to
out,
make a statement because,
yeah, this is what we're doing. And it was just like, did you guys all have a meeting? Because it's
like on Christmas Day, like,
yeah, it was one after the other after the other. And it was just like, and what's funny is that the people who are like, oh my gosh, maybe I shouldn't feed raw anymore. Maybe I should start cooking. I got a lot of emails and messages from people saying, what are your thoughts? And I felt bad because I'm not worried about it. To me, 65 people who all work in the same industry, in the same area, contracting the bird flu is not a pandemic. It seems like there's an issue in where they work in the facilities or at the farm that needs to be addressed. But that is, to me, is not a pandemic. I think, I think it's awful that a cat died, but I thought, you sent me the link, Susan Thixton's article about the fact that they tested open food rather than testing closed food, which they could have done because raw brands keep a sample
yeah,
of each lot back. So they could have gone and tested that.
and
So
they
we
did.
don't know when the contamination happened. I'm not in no way blaming anyone. I'm just saying that there's
It
information we
didn't
don't.
follow the protocol. Yeah,
Right. There's
that it
information we
is
don't, and that
supposed to.
raises questions. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, so how can we possibly know, that, what's going on? Was it the food? Was it the sourcing? Was it the processing? Was there contamination after processing? Where along the trail before it got to this cat did something go wrong? And we don't know.
And
And so,
also, like, was there an underlying condition or,
mhm.
immunocompromised in some way? Like, I don't know enough of the details to know the answer to that. I just know to use that as a singular excuse to demonize raw feeding,
Yeah.
like I just feel like once again, I just come back to, melamine, vitamin D, like
Mhm.
kibble has caused widespread deaths of so many dogs in the last 20 years. But
And people just want to sweep it under the rug. And the
demonized.
thing that surprised me the most was how scared people quickly got. I expected more people to be like, what?
I
Wh-
know, I know. I just again, I struggle with social media. I have not been on social media a lot the last couple months because I kind of struggle with it sometimes because I just feel like there's such like rampant like fear mongering and hysteria and stuff posted just for engagement or and I just get like very cynical and like
I do.
don't want to contribute to
I
it.
do. I mean, I don't buy into the second I hear pandemic, plus it's an election year, I'm just I'm bouncing out because it's just like, what are you doing? What's happening? Who's mad at who? What is the whole point of all of
Yeah,
this?
I just get very cynical about it all.
And it's like, I don't mean to have such, my tinfoil hat on, but it's always in my back pocket, ready to throw it on. And again, I just go by when it comes to that. What are my sources? Our co-op emailed us and let us know we're good to go. And I'm happy with that. And, so I'll pay attention to the news, but they've been talking about the bird. Well, first of all, they've been talking about it for years, but they've been talking about it consistently for at least 2 years. The next pandemic. And it's just like, I'm tired of hearing. It's sort of like when the weather starts warning you about a huge storm that never quite comes. And it's like, why did you make this big deal out of this?
Oh,
We just
like
got
every
some rain.
winter in the Mid-Atlantic.
Storm watch, 2025, and it's just like, no, nothing happened. And so that's kind of how I feel about this. It's like, nothing's happened. But, yeah, I'm really surprised at how many people are basically freaked out.
It's the mystery dog illness all over again.
Yes, I know. That's right. That was last year.
That was this time last year. Yes.
Yes, I forgot about that. So we do have 2 brands that have new products. Gussie's Gut has their grasses and sprouts, which I haven't gotten mine yet.
Oh, I just got mine. Today was the second day I fed it. And, I doubt it worked this fast, but I will say Nessie actually didn't eat any grass on our morning walk this morning, which is highly unusual of her. But there were a lot of squirrels in the area, so she might have just been like distracted.
So yes, so the grasses and sprouts has wheatgrass, alfalfa grass, barley grass, oat grass, broccoli sprouts, and cabbage sprouts, all organic. And it helps with digestion, nutrient absorption, immune system, overall wellness. And it is their third product, maybe. They have the daily, they have the grass and the sprouts, and then they have the pork treats. So,
oh, I need to stock up on those pork treats. The guttables, Nino is obsessed with those.
Oh, I know. My dogs love those. And so it's like, and I read on the website that you can sort of alternate them, but you can feed them together, the daily and the grass and the sprout, or you can alternate them. I think I will just do alternating because that's what I do already. But
I will say I thought the package looked a lot smaller, but it's only like 1 ounce less than the other package the daily comes in. It just for some reason it looks like it's like way shorter, but I think it's like wider or something. I don't know. But like I was kind of like, what? When I saw this looks really small, but it wasn't like that much smaller when I actually looked at it.
I can't wait to get it. And Green Juju.
They've been busy.
They have been busy. So this is what I have. The Bailey's blend and the Golden blend now come in freeze-dried forms. For freeze-dried, the Bailey's blend now has cleavers, which is great for detox, and it's a good ingredient for dogs with allergies. The Golden blend, the freeze-dried version, now has bee pollen, and which is very nutrient dense, also good for like environmental allergies. I did text Billy because I was wondering, are you going to add those ingredients to the frozen, and learn that no, they are not. And the reason why is because the frozen is considered food, whereas the freeze-dried is considered a supplement. So they can just add things to the supplement. But with the frozen, they can't be so willy-nilly about when they add things.
I know the freeze-dried Green Juju blend has nettles in it, which the other one doesn't. And I always thought that was interesting. And, I've never actually tried the freeze-dried ones. So maybe I'll have to try
My dogs tried it today. Well, not these, but I had some freeze-dried Just Greens. And so they had that today added to their food. So those are the things. So, and then what I found is, now I'm really excited. The Vitality blend. Yeah. So this one has fruits and vegetables, berries and vegetables, and it's all like the brightly colored ones.
Yeah.
And it all has astragalus root, and the astragalus root is in the frozen and freeze-dried. And this is great for the immune system, and they called it a warming blend. So for folks who are following traditional Chinese medicine, it is a warming food. But I'm really excited. I don't know if my pet store is going to be open on Wednesday, which is Wild Wednesday. When I looked at the site, they said coming soon to our store. So I don't know if these are at our pet stores yet.
I have not seen them, but you guys might get them sooner.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited
And
about
then
the.
they had a video that they have 12 new products coming in 2025.
It's
So,
crazy. I mean, it
yeah.
is. And what's crazy about it is that I have known Kelly for years. And Kelly started all of this just with her dog. Her dog got cancer and she learned about, she doesn't like to call them smoothies, but she wanted to do like a vegetable blend. She was doing it for herself. She did it for her dog and it helped. And then, she did it with the help of her, veterinarian who helped her. I believe her veterinarian helped her come up with a recipe. I can't remember that part of it, but other people started hearing about it and asking her. So she started making it for other people. So she was making this out of her kitchen. And she has grown into this, this amazing community
Yeah.
of this team of people who get together and they brainstorm. They're getting together again in January because they get together once a month. I was talking to Billy the other day and he was talking about how it's really helpful when they get together because they can get so much more work done when they're together in the office. And I was just like, nobody who works from home wants to hear that. It's like with all these companies saying, nope, it's time for you guys to come back. It's good for our culture. Like we're not interested in how much work we can get done because but in their situation, it does work because of what they're actually creating things. Whereas, as an accountant, I don't really need to be in the office and working alongside people to get my job done. But yeah, I'm pretty excited. Well, I mean, golly, I mean, look at all the food. Like remember when they were coming out with something? I guess it wasn't this year, it was probably last year, and we were trying to figure out what the next thing was and if it was going to be food or if it's going to, just I mean, now they have what is it, like 5 or 6? I mean,
I think they have at least 5.
rabbit, goat, bison, beef,
Pork.
pork, yeah, lamb, or is it goat? No, just goat.
I think it's goat, yeah.
But they have all these proteins. And they have it in frozen and freeze dried. They have all these treats. They have the meal toppers. They have the raw goat's milk. They have what I
The
appreciate about
mushroom probiotic.
the mushroom probiotic. And then of course like the Lewis Golden Paste and the Bam's Beets and the golden blend. I mean, just so many things they've come out with. And it's just like, and everyone is pretty excited. I mean, I don't even make golden paste anymore. I just buy theirs, but it's pretty amazing. What do you think one of the 12 things will be?
Oh my gosh, I have no idea. I mean, I feel like they're so innovative that it's hard to even guess. Like, I never could have come up with a mushroom probiotic beverage or something. Like, never in a million years would have thought that. I'm wondering though if it will be more proteins, like more food proteins. But
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right, let's talk about our favorite moments.
it has been a year, man.
It's been another year, and a few of our favorite moments are the same, but I tried not to copy yours because you had some really good ones. But I know two of them that are the same. Well, one is, talking to Dr. Billinghurst. That was just amazing. But also, I mean, you said Rodney and Karen, but my thing was like just going to Super Zoo with you was so much fun.
Yes. Oh, that was such a
That
blast.
was so much fun.
I was talking to somebody recently and I had to kind of divide that whole trip into like several different sections, right? Because I was like, first of all, it was so much fun because I got to hang out with you. We had such a blast. We ate some really good food, you know, and then like just me being me, like I was just very proud of myself because first of all, it's the first time I've traveled since COVID. I was by myself. I had to bring all my podcast equipment out there. I had to lug it all
Heavy
around
bag.
when we were having like 20,000 steps a day with this giant backpack on.
When I got us lost on the tram
On the
and we
way
couldn't
back,
find our way
yeah.
back into the hotel.
At least that was the way back. And then, we were in that weirdo room and I had to like set everything up and I had only like a few minutes to do it. And I was running all these cords and wires and I'm crawling around on the floor and I'm like hot and sweaty and taking off my sweater. And I was very proud of myself for like the competency of being able to do all that because, I was like, in my head, I'm like, don't F it up, don't F it up. Like, I don't want to get through the whole interview and find out like, oh, I forgot to hit record or,
Yeah.
just
Oh, yeah.
like, I was just very proud of like that element of it. It was so much fun to get to actually do the interview, talk to them, hang out and see some of the other, goings-ons, meet some of the other people. And then there was like the whole party and the people that we got to meet, and we got to meet fans of the podcast.
Yeah, that was so exciting when people would
Yes.
stop us and be like, oh my, that was like so cool. Because even though we do this and we see the downloads, it mostly is just us talking to each other and recording. So it's just like, and sometimes I'm just like, does anyone really find this entertaining? Because I mean, I'm entertained by you and just what we're talking about, but it's like, are other people like, I think about, didn't someone get upset because we were talking about TV and they didn't like that? It
Yeah.
was like earlier in the beginning where,
Right.
and we're like, we're going to do it even more now.
And we have Nick, our one male fan.
Yes. Thank you, Nick. We appreciate you.
So that whole trip, just, and then we got to go to that party, and I mean, there was so many elements of it that really stood out. But yeah, it's so exciting that we got to hang out together this year.
Yeah, there are so many like just memories, like when we went to Starbucks, but we realized there were two Starbucks.
Yeah, we were at different Starbucks.
We were at different Starbucks, and we find I'm standing in line, and she's like, "I don't see you," and I'm like, "I'm right here." But there's that, and then there's the what was it? Oh, getting the elevator. So going up to my room, taking my stuff, and then realizing that there was a shorter way to get to my room.
We had walked all this crazy way around.
Yeah, we went up the stairs, we walked down a long hallway, and then there were other so that was the burger at
the Wahlburgers. Yes.
Delicious burger. That wonderful steak when we went out to dinner with Gussie.
Yes, with Rob, yeah.
And Gussie was just so quiet. We forgot that she was there. And it's just like, yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun stuff on
a
that.
lot of great memories. And it was fun to see. It's always fun to see everyone and just I don't know. It's just I'm pretty excited about it. This year. Real Mushrooms is going to have a booth.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so it's like I'm curious. I'm gathering that they're going to start being carried in pet stores, so that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I thought it was a fun trip. It was a real fun trip, and so I'm really excited about that. So those are my two. Now, as far as other ones, I really like Dr. Christine of Job.
Yes.
I always get a kick out of speaking to someone who knows everything about something.
Yeah.
Like they're opening your mind to, just basically the benefits of collagen, but not just collagen, but the right type of collagen and the studies that are out there. And, and yeah, I got a real kick out of her. And it has now probably been about 3 months, maybe 2 months, 2 to 3 months. Since
I think I'm on my second bag.
Yeah, since I've been using Job, and I've moved it, or I rotated in with WinPro, and I do see a difference with Zoe. So she's always been an active girl, but no more limping. She can go on longer walks with me. I mean, she's not racing across the property as fast as the other dogs, but she's trying to keep up with them, and she's a lot more playful. She wants to go places. She doesn't want to just sit in the house. She's doing a better job. We were wondering if she was going to have some issues like jumping onto the furniture because she would miss a couple times. We aren't seeing that. So I think it is beneficial. I know people complain about the price, but I think that if it's within your budget, when you have a senior dog and you want to just make sure that they're getting everything they need, and because I can alternate it with WinPro, so a bag will last a lot longer, it's worth it for me.
And I just felt like they're doing everything that I would want a company to do. It's like based in the US, like she's the face of the company. Not only does she know everything about the science of what she's doing, like she knows everything about the company. It was like her and one other person that started all of this and made all of this happen. And they source the highest quality things. And, I just feel like that's how you want something to be done, and you have to pay for that.
Yeah.
And yeah, if it's something that you can make happen, I stocked up when they had a sale recently, I got
Mhm.
like 3 months for a really good price. I don't know if I'm gonna have Nino on it forever. I think he's on a good mix of products, but he's had some extra pep in his step
Yeah.
lately. He got really mouthy with this squirrel that was out in the yard, and he was jumping up on the door, and Tim was like, "Oh my God, he hasn't jumped up on the door like that in a long time." And I'm like, I feel like I'm seeing that, he's been running around the yard more and,
Yeah.
chasing squirrels. And I was like, I feel like I am seeing, some extra life in him right
Yeah,
now.
Zoe does a lot more running than walking, and she's going across the property. She's off doing her own thing. There are times when I'm calling the dogs in, and the Apollo and Bella are coming, and I have to go out and find Zoe and bring her into the house. I mean, she's doing pretty good. So I really like speaking to her. I think a lot of the people that we spoke to, it was enjoyable speaking to them, and I ended up buying something.
Yeah, I thought from a product standpoint, Jope and Myos are the two things that like I'm really incorporating. Like ever since, I mean, Nina's been on Myos pretty much ever since we talked to them, which I think was back in like March or April.
Yeah.
He's been on it, and I had started out with the original formula and then switched over to the one with the green lip muscle. And I really feel like, first of all, he has his butt muscles back. And again, I really feel like that was the first time I saw a noticeable difference in him. And then I
Hmm.
feel like Jope on top of it. And he also gets elk velvet antler. I feel like he's on this like amazing mix of things that are
Yeah.
getting kind of rotated around. And he's still, I mean, he's an 11-year-old guy, and he's, a 70-pound big dog, and he hasn't really lost much of a step.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's fabulous.
Zoe's 11 as well. And it's really nice to see. And I feel like, for her, and it's mostly for her. The other dogs do get Myos. Sometimes they'll get a joke chew, but mostly that's for Zoe. But my goal is to see them, especially with the Myos, to see no muscle uh, loss.
Yeah, because Nino had noticeable muscle loss coming into 2024.
Hmm.
And his butt's not, I don't think, ever going to be quite as beefy as it once was, but we have definitely noticed
Hmm.
gain. Like Myos has absolutely worked for him, and I'm thrilled about it. And I mean, a year ago this time, we were like slightly worried about him, and he's like right now, like I'm so thrilled with how he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. And then a few people that I really loved talking to were, Lee Carroll, Rita Hogan, Lisa Tully. I mean, just
I love her.
she was so much fun. Paula Vandervoort was, the natural rearing dog breeding. That was just so eye-opening. And then Elizabeth Johnson, the book, that was
Yeah.
so much fun.
Yes, with the quizzes. Yeah.
Yeah, with the quizzes, and that was so much fun, and figuring out, what element each of my dogs was.
Yeah.
That
And
was
us. And we did Tim and I too. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun as well. So, and then, and I have Billy on the list because, we've had him twice now on the podcast, and we will be having him back again. It'll probably be an annual thing where we'll just bring
Well,
Billy on.
I mean, I feel like he drops so much knowledge. He can talk on so many different things, like anytime, anywhere. I'm always happy to hear him. Yeah, and I loved that raw milk conversation.
Yeah. So what's on your list?
Well, I'm obsessed with Dr. Kendra Pope, and I
Yes.
just want like everybody who's facing a cancer diagnosis. I want them to know about her. I want them to know about her work. I want them to listen to that episode. I wanted them to know all the different tools that she has in her toolbox. And then my newest girl crush is, of course, Dr. Katie Woodley, who, oh my God, when I saw her speak at the Nautical Dog event this year, I was like, oh my God, I'm her
Oh
biggest
yeah.
fangirl now. Like I mean, she talked about things that I've never heard anybody else talk about. She's talking about things that aren't on everybody's Instagram posts, and I love that. I love, the detox information, the peptides. Like, I just thought that was all like such fabulous information. I loved Dr. Jeff Feynman. I loved his BEAM acronym, because I think you can use that with my dog health journal with like this daily check on your dog. And I thought that that was really good information. His whole holistic medical decision making paradigm, like, again, because of how my brain is constantly like rolling through like all these different options, I thought he gave like a good framework for, making these decisions. And of course, because I'm a legal
Yes.
nerd, I loved our conversations with Daniel
Our
Schulab.
two-parter conversation.
Yes.
That
Again,
was
he
just,
has so much information.
oh my gosh.
The whole DCM conspiracy.
Again, that's another thing where it's like, of course, we should trust the medical community. Of course, we should trust the pharmaceutical people. Of course, in a perfect world, we should be able to trust those people. But we're living in a world where people have basically ulterior motives. And that is a perfect example of that. When he was talking about, like the fact that they threw out information so that that was basically going against what they wanted the narrative to be when they were doing the studies. I mean, because I myself saw a study where they had incorrect information in the study. And it's just, but he really, I mean, wow, the way he broke it down was astounding.
And I mean, when you look at specifically the FDA with the like corporate incestuousness from these big pharmaceutical
Yeah.
industry companies and these biotech companies, and it's like, yeah, I don't trust that shit.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it goes down to when you look at studies, it's just sort of like someone recently was trying to convince me that raw feeding was dangerous. And he's like sending me a list of studies. And I kept asking him who supported this study,
Funded them, yeah.
who funded the study. And he couldn't answer it. And it's just like, anyone can Google raw feeding bad study and then say, here are all the studies. Just like I go to Helsinki and go, here, read this website. They have a bunch of great studies. But it's just sort of like there's the people who funded it, but also the motive behind. If the motive is because, you truly, truly believe raw feeding is bad, then there's no reason why you would remove dogs from the study who are thriving. There's no reason why you would only do a study on like 15 dogs and and for a short period of time. It's like there was a study, I think, I don't know if it was in 2024 2023, and I don't know if the study was then or if that's when I read it, but there was one about plant-based diets for dogs, and it was only on a handful of dogs over a 12-month period. And it's just like, okay, so tell me about how these dogs are doing in 5 years. I mean, not that I want the study to go on for 5 years, because in my belief, the dogs will not be thriving and you just harmed these animals. But it's just sort of like 1 year it's not enough. Deficiencies and the impact of a poorly formulated diet doesn't always immediately show up. So, and it's just one of those where, I don't know, we need to think more.
Yeah. And so I also have been following the lawsuit that Daniel filed. So it's in this kind of protracted motions thing going on. So there hasn't been a ton of movement, but I am keeping an eye on it. I check it like once a month or so just to see if there's been any movement lately. And then I was so happy to do the ozone episode. I love ozone. Again,
I love the toothpaste.
yeah, I do too. Yeah.
I love it. I'm using it all the time. I know that I'm going to have to order some more. It is so amazing.
Yes, I love the toothpaste too. And I just, again, like, for when your dog has cancer, has chronic ear infections, like, this is such a powerful tool to have in the toolbox, to know is out there, it's something that you can even do yourself at home. Like, I feel like it's empowering in that respect.
Mhm.
Like, I'm so glad that we got to talk about that. And I also loved the natural rearing breeder episode. I think that's one where, like, so much of it was new information to me, because I know literally nothing about breeding,
Yeah.
because I'm a rescue person,
Yeah.
right? And I have literally zero interest in ever having a puppy from anyone, anywhere, anytime. But it was interesting to learn like how committed Paula is also to the rescue community, to breed rescue. And I guess that's something I had heard once before, but was interesting to have solidified for me, that just because people are involved in breeding doesn't mean like it's not mutually exclusive from the rescue world, and that people who are really committed to doing the right thing for the breed are also involved in the rescue side also. And I just think that's good information for me to have. I'm still always going to be a rescue pit bull girl. I am who I am. But it was interesting information to have. And also, for when I meet people who, for whatever reason, are wanting to get a puppy, to have like a place to send them to get dogs that are actually, healthy and health screened. And what does that really mean? And so,
Yeah.
it was interesting to me from that. Well,
What got me was I realized I didn't really understand what natural rearing breeding meant, because I thought it was more like, oh, okay, well, the parents ate a raw diet, the grandparents ate a raw diet, these puppies were weaned onto a raw diet. I thought that was pretty much what natural rearing breeding was. Maybe there is some what do they call it, the where they do the puppy culture, puppy culture. I thought that was part of it. But, the whole idea of the thought that goes into whether or not to vaccinate, what to vaccinate for, just she opened my eyes to just a completely different way of looking at, and the fact that they have guidelines and books to follow, and that it's some serious stuff. It's not someone was like, I bet my puppy and your puppy would make great puppies together, and we can feed them raw. That's not it.
Yeah. And like getting to talk to Dr. Billinghurst, I mean, never in a million years would that have been on the bingo card of my life. You know what I mean? Like ordering his book back in like 2009, I could have foreseen a future where, I would get to speak to this man. So, that was very, very cool.
Yeah, definitely. So what's on your 2025 bingo card?
So this year of 2024, I went to a lot of events, and I would have gone to more if they hadn't been canceled for various reasons. I didn't get to go up to Albany this year because that didn't happen, but I got to go to a training event with like my favorite trainer in the world, Suzanne Clothier. I got to go to Norfolk the Norfolk area for the nautical dog event. So that's on my 2025 list, is the nautical dog event again. And then, I got to go to Super Zoo this year. I don't know about next year. That'll remain to be seen. I was going to go to the Dr. Judy event. I won't be able to go to the rescheduled one because it's literally on the day of my 20th wedding anniversary next year. I don't think I get to go to Albany next year because I have volunteer commitments. So yeah, I don't know what it'll look like event-wise, but I'm definitely hoping to make it to that Virginia event. I know Dr. Rob Silver is doing a little bit of a mini East Coast book tour in the springtime, so I'm hoping to make it to some of those events. So I know those are definitely, Nessie and I are going to continue our nose work. I don't know if competitions are going to be in our future, but we're at least going to go to the classes. We've been doing some online training classes also that have been a lot of fun. I have some cool interviews scheduled both for us and on Believe in Dog. And I have a big family vacation that is coming up next year, so that'll be interesting.
Are you going to Disneyland?
No, we're going to Hawaii.
Fun. That's a long flight.
Yeah. It's a long flight. It's a long trip. It's a lot of togetherness with my whole family. Not just Tim and I, but yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff coming. That's a lot. What about you? Hopefully you'll be at Real Dog again.
Yes, planning to go to Real Dog, planning to go to Super Zoo. And for the most part, what I am doing this upcoming year is, well, I had a meeting with a rep from Instagram a few months ago, and he basically cracked open Instagram and told me how to make it work for me. So I took tons of notes, and this was like September. I took tons of notes, and was planning on incorporating the tips that he gave me, but decided it would be easier if I did it with the new year. And so that's what I have. I have my handy little
So you have
calendar book.
notes and
Yeah,
calendars?
where I have notes and I have a schedule of posting things and topics and everything. And so I am actually pretty excited about putting all the tips into action for 2025. But otherwise, not a whole heck of a lot. I mean, I think that, I'm still waiting to see if a kibble company comes out with some type of freeze dried or gently cooked or raw, something. I feel like they've been tiptoeing closer over the, probably past, 5+ years with either using raw in the name of it or adding raw coated bits into it or something like that, or coming out with a kibble, either raw or dehydrated companies coming out with a kibble, but calling it something different, just not using the word kibble. So I'm curious to know, especially with the all the news recently with the bird flu. I'm curious to know. I'm always interested in what the traditional side of the pet food industry, what they're up to and what they're looking at. Because, I mean, I think that they have recognized that people are interested in feeding their dogs natural food. And so I'm just curious to know if we're going to see someone, basically, Farmer's Dog is doing pretty good. Are we going to see more competition in that arena?
You know how I know Farmer's Dog is doing good? Because my father, who pays no attention to anything at all related to dogs, asked me if I knew about it
Yeah,
and if it was a good one.
they have commercials.
Yeah. During football. They have commercials
Yeah.
during football.
Well, it's because I think it was last year where they had either last year before last, where they had a commercial on the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It was definitely within the past few years.
Yeah, I think it
And
was last year.
and WinPro has commercials now. That's my joint supplement. They have other supplements too, but I do the joint supplement. And we're going to have him on the podcast
Yeah.
next week, I think it is. Yeah, it's insane. I mean, it's nice to see new products coming out. It's nice to see the companies that I support coming out with new products. I think over the next year, I'm not going to try as many new things as I have in the past because I just really like sticking with products within a certain line. So I really like Adored Beast. I really like, Green Juju. I really like Real Mushrooms. So, but it'll be interesting to see.
Well, it's interesting because I'm looking for some new foods to put in because we're losing my Aunt Jenny.
That's right. That's right.
And so I've been looking around at some new things to maybe try that I haven't done before. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. What is the name? Oh, Oma's Pride. Are they on your side of the country?
Yes, but I think I would have to, that's one of the ones on my list, but I would have to order it. I don't have it in retail.
Because I really like them.
Yeah, that's one I want to check out.
And it's so funny. I really like them because they have two products that I really like. They're whole sardines and then their Ocean's blend because my dogs don't get a whole lot of fish. I mean, they do get fish in their diet, but I really like those two products. But just playing around on their website, one day I was going to place a big order because they were having a sale, but I don't know if it was you or someone else that pointed out that the sale was only for certain states because it was like at the last minute. I actually reached out to them to find out, and they were like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, it's for the last minute, and only certain distribution centers can be on board, and so you're in a state that none of them ship to." So I couldn't. But I was like on their website for hours, like putting together an order until I realized, oh, I can't place an order. So
Yeah,
like,
that's one of the ones on my list of things
but I do
that
like.
I'm curious
I do like.
about.
I like Oma's Pride. I like Raw Paws Pet Food. I bought things from them in the past. And they have a lot of just what I like most about them is that they have tons of variety, but they also have like, like if you buy this much, you get free shipping and they have good sales and stuff. So they have some pretty cool stuff. But yeah. Yeah. Did you watch any movies or anything over the past week?
I have watched probably more television in the last 2 weeks than I have like all year. I had a couple days of downtime, which I needed. So oh my gosh, I totally binged in one day the Netflix show, No One Wants This with Kristen Bell, who
Oh, I started that, but I didn't finish it. Did you like it?
I loved it so much. I have been obsessed with her since Veronica Mars. It's like I will watch anything that she's in because I loved her in Veronica Mars, which was like 20 years ago apparently. And yeah, that was a very funny, very, very funny show and just my kind of funny. And then what was the other thing? So Tim and I are in the middle of Bad Monkey. We had
Oh,
started it
such a
and
good.
then like I think we got into because we finished what we do in the shadows and then we came back to Bad Monkey. And Tim, I know Tim likes that one because a lot of times we'll just watch a show while we're eating, and it might take us 3 days to get through one episode, but he will stay at the table until we finish the whole episode. And
It's
I was like, oh,
so
he really
good.
likes this show. So
Yeah, I
that's a
really like that one. I
um,
need to start up Shrinking because I
yes,
finished. So I need to start season 2 of Shrinking.
yes, I finished season 2 of Shrinking. Um, there was another one I watched. It has Ted Danson, and he's like this older retired guy, and he starts working for a detective agency, and he goes undercover at a senior living center because there's been like a series of thefts, and I think it's called Man on the Inside. And so
Yeah.
that was like very cute and funny and had just some great, like, remember Sally Struthers and just like some great like people that you hadn't seen in a while. And I thought that was like very cute, like kind of show, but there was some funny moments. So yeah, I have actually watched a lot of television lately.
Yes, you have. The only thing I can bring to the table is a show called Invincible. It's a cartoon. I think it's on Amazon Prime. I love my superheroes, and I was just like, oh, it's a cartoon. It'll be easy to watch. I figured, I'll just have this run in the background. But it got me into it because I'm watching it, and it got violent really quickly, like very, very violent. And I'm sitting here just staring at the TV in shock. Like, who is this for? And why is there so much blood? And then the swearing. And I was just like, clearly not for kids. But I finished 2 seasons. I binged 2 seasons. And I was so mad at the end of the second season because it was just like, it's so easy to get through. But oh my gosh, cartoons have gotten aggressive and violent. It's a new world. So that's all I've done. I've been cheating for movies where I'm curious about the movies or series, but I don't really want to invest any time into it. And I've been watching the recaps on YouTube.
There was a show where I got like so burned out because I just felt like it was getting like overly like ridiculous and dramatic. And so instead of watching the last season, I just like read about it on like Wikipedia or something. And I'm like, okay, that's how they wrapped that characters up.
Thank
All
you so
right.
much. I can move on now.
I didn't want to invest my time watching.
So that's about it.
Oh,
All right.
Elsbeth. I think I finished Elsbeth.
I don't think I finished it. I think I have one more episode in that, one or two more episodes.
And it got interesting.
Ooh. I mean, because I have the rest of the week. Well, I have Thursday and Friday off. So
oh, nice.
That's what I'm going to do. All right. Well, another year.
Happy New Year.
Thanks for listening, guys.